Hi. Hi, Michelle. Pay me no mind. I'm a little frustrated. I am tired of YouTube and StreamYard making me feel like I'm not capable. I've been trying to get into this thing since 11:40 this morning. I love you too. I got off of YouTube and I'm on StreamYard, but I tried StreamYard first and it wouldn't connect me. And when I was on StreamYard last week, it kicked me completely out. Um, Let me see if I remember how to do this. I think I remember. Evidently not. I'm typing the wrong thing. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. And then my Gemini on my phone wants to start talking to me. I didn't say Gemini. There it is. I think. I wanted to put my email up. To be honest with you, Michelle, I tr- I think I tried Gemini one time. I think I tried Gemini one time. My kids say that I'm so secretive, and it's not that I'm secretive. It's just I was brought up in that private era, you know, and it's not necessarily that you're hiding what you're doing. You just learn to respect other people's space, and therefore you learn to have your own. Does that make sense? Yes, I mean it's common courtesy and respect. I have a grandson who will only have one grandson, but bless his heart, he thinks that every time a phone is on, the screen is up, that he's supposed to read whatever's on it. I can get a little text message and I have to remind him that he's 7 and this isn't his phone. And, I think it thrills him that he reads on, yes, he reads on an 8th grade level. He does. He's very smart. But just because you read wrong doesn't make you wrong. Just because you read grown does not make you grown, little man. I always have to remind him, you are my little yellow booger. So how are you? How's your top coming along? Exactly. But my oldest does pay my bill. She wants her mom to be in touch. But I remind her all the time that I'm still her mama, number one. And number two, I am eligible for a free phone through social services. So it's done. Oh, I want to see, I want to see. You have to email me pictures. And then one day when I really grow up on this computer thing, I'm going to learn how to post pictures. Wow. We were supposed to be working on the yellow hooded um, fitted hood and turtleneck cow. I let them mess me all up this morning. I did. And I know. I knew better. And you get to that point and you're like, you can feel the tears welling and you're like, I'm not going to let it fall. I am not going to let it fall. I keep telling myself I'm going to make myself stuff. Hmm. And it's not that I don't think that I'm worthy. I know that I am. Just other things come up. Like this is kind of for me. I'm using 3 strands, but it's the pillow that you use to prop your arms up on. I had a body pillow that was years old. So I crunched it down. I folded both ends in and sewed them together so that I can make a regular pillow out of it. And then I'm like, I don't even really use it. And I don't want to rest my arms on top of Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell deserves so much better. So I wanted to crochet a cover to put on top of that pillow so I could use that instead. And then make some straps around the side. I didn't want to do the straps quite yet because um, I know that I have these surgeries coming up and I know that I'm going to be significantly smaller. So I don't want to make the straps for right now and it be like way too big. So I'm kind of waiting on that. And the chair that I'm going to be using has a straight back. So I want it to connect to the chair. I want to try to get those, like the ones you use in the baby car seats and things. I don't have a nursing pillow. Um, I never had one. The nursing pillow I had was right here. But that's getting ready to go bye-bye too. That's what I wanted to do, but I didn't want the excess. I didn't want to get like that's why I was saying I didn't want to get them for right now. I want to do something very, very temporary for right now, and then go back and redo. I'm sorry. I got my water. I dropped my other bottle, but this is almost my second bottle today. Early in the day, I'd rather have room temperature water. So at night before I go to bed, I'll bring 3 bottles in my room. Sometimes I get up coughing in the middle of the night. So I like to have water on hand. I'm not crazy about flavored water. So how long have you been doing the daycare? I haven't had coffee since yesterday. I'm trying to wean myself a little bit from the coffee so much. Yes, the water. I'm on my third 40-ounce cup. I do have sleep apnea. I do. And yes, I'm supposed to use a CPAP machine. Can you hear me? Hello? Are we connected now? This is what it did last week. It's like as soon as we were getting into it good, everything just went blank. I could still see the comments coming through on the TV, but I had no way to communicate. And this is just StreamYard. This isn't even YouTube running in the background. I don't know. I don't know. A part of me feels like it's a test. But yeah, when I first got my CPAP machine, I think it was in 2000. It was somewhere between 2000 and 2002. Of course, it took some getting used to, but I adjusted very quickly. I love the fact that I woke up with more energy. I was able to um, I was able to get more done. I was able to interact more with my kids. I was a better cab driver. Uh, I'm trying. I'm I'm trying. But like I said, I adjusted quickly. I love the fact that I have more energy. Uh, I was a cab driver during the time, and I was driving as many hours as I could. Um, and then I moved, and the machine just did not work the same. So we got it readjusted. Where I went from there, yes. But once I got from there, when I moved from there, I went back to my mom's. And it's like once I went back to my mom's house and tried to get it readjusted, Dr. Shaw kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And then when he finally decided to adjust it, it just felt like opening the door in the middle of a hurricane. And it was just like, and you know, how you blow into a baby's face and they go, that's what I find myself doing with my CPAP machine. That's why it's in the closet on the floor. And it doesn't feel good at all. That's what I want. But everybody wants me to go back to Dr. Shaw. And Dr. Shaw's waiting list is like 2.5 years long. It's to the point that every time I call and tell them I need an appointment, they're like, well, we're not taking appointments right now. I'm like, well, can you put me on the list? And they ask that I call back. And when I call back, so after them doing that for the past couple of years, I just got a new neurologist. But I know I know he's gonna want me to go see another sleep doctor. Even though that's under neurology, they have their specialties, and this one is seeing me for my seizures. So he's gonna want to send me. And I did the sleep study when I first got you, but like I said, it's just been a hassle getting. And that might be another neat reason that I need to wait, because the one surgery that I thought I needed ended up being 3 surgeries. because my pacemaker defibrillator is so close to the battery needing to be replaced that they want to have that done before I have the other surgeries. Wow. Wow. I'm not even going to talk about insurance right now. That's a whole nother can of worms. I've been fighting with these people for 3 years. It's like every month I'm fighting with them, and I can't get the two to stay on the same page. But I hope they get it together. I do. I've said some pretty nicey things to them. I mean, and I don't go back on anything I said. I was not loud. I was not belligerent. I was very firm, and I said to them, if I was your mother, would you allow this to happen? If I was your big sister, would you be happy just putting my case in the pile that you got to whenever you got ready to get to it? Every month I'm being hit with an emergency situation that could be handled by the push of a button on your end. I'm sitting here now with a medical bill that you all were supposed to pay last year. I don't have $17,000. I can monitor me. And I think it's because I call myself such I want to say extroverted introvert. It's like when I go to a party or a gathering or one of my poetry readings, you go in, you greet everybody, hi, how you doing? And you find that perfect little chair over in the corner, pull out your crochet and sit back, prop your feet up, and as long as they stay over there, you're fine. And it's the same way when it comes to remote study. I was in school for a while for psychology. The more I was able to stay in my room and do what I had to do, reading, math, whatever it was, the part that I learned about the computer that I retained was Excel. I can make spreadsheets all day. I can make spreadsheets all day. It's something that I love to do. The other part that I had to learn is it's like I created a barrier. The in person does, but the way I look at that, once they stick all those electrodes in your head, I'm going to sleep. Give me enough pillows so I can sit upright, and I'm going to sleep. Don't keep harassing me. Don't. Yeah, I'm just. But yes, I love us extroverted introverts. I do because we like people. We do. We like people. But it's just something very valuable and very comfortable about our own space. We're not standoffish. I needed to overlook that for a night to ensure. Okay, I understand. I do understand. I just want to, I think the position that I'm in right now, I want to get past these surgeries. I absolutely love the surgeon that I met. I was expecting to have to verbally fight with him, but everything that I was thinking, everything that I was feeling, everything that I wanted before I was able to say anything, he was on the same page. I was expecting him to belittle me once he saw me because so many doctors have done that before. And when you get down to talking to a doctor and they realize, okay, you don't have a problem being active, you don't have a problem, your problem is this is causing you to lose your mobility and you want your mobility back. Exactly. I was expecting him to say, oh, we want to, thank you. Oh, we want to talk about bariatric surgery. No, we don't. No, we don't. I'm when I went to my PCP, the first thing I told her is that I want off of meds. I don't like pills and foreign tasting liquids, and I like juices and spices and natural berries, and not even crazy about oils. I honestly think the way I came up, my grandfather was diabetic. The way I came up, and to control his diabetes, we handle everything through his diet. Everybody had to eat the way my granddaddy had to eat. That way, we had to shift and adjust, so that he didn't feel out of place. And I respect that. Uh, my daughter, I passed it down to my children. When my daughter cooks, it tastes like there's salt in it, but I can guarantee you it's not because we don't own salt. I'm sorry, we have Epsom salt. And I know that we don't cook with Epsom salt. But yeah, that's not something that we do. Um, Blending other spices, and I don't care for turmeric. I don't. It changes everything in my body a different color, and I'm not crazy about turmeric, but thyme, basil, bay leaves, rosemary, um, cumin, all of those. Okay, exactly. Exactly. We absolutely do. Um, like I said, with my grandfather, there we go. Okay. Whew. It's a lag over here. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Okay, but my grandfather had glaucoma. He was blessed enough to have the wife that he had, my grandmother, who was had her master's in culinary arts, and she minored in nutrition. So she was able to, okay, okay. I'll still talk about it for whoever else is here. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, But with my grandfather being diabetic, he had the best wife in the world because she was able to adjust his diet so that he didn't have to endure taking insulin and all these other things. We grew up with no salt. I didn't know what candy was until my grandfather started taking me with him on his shenanigans. And as a child, didn't know that I got my granddaddy in trouble because I asked my grandmother for a baby Ruth. And okay, my grandmother could not understand how I knew about a baby Ruth. And I told her, well, when we go to Miss Ann's house, she gives me a baby Ruth when she and granddaddy go in the room. And when we go to Miss Pearl's house, she gives me a Butterfinger when she and granddaddy go in the room. I didn't know I was telling them. I was a little girl. And my grandmother didn't raise her voice either. That's one thing I got from her a little bit. You got to really, really push me for me to raise my voice. Now, my facial expression will tell a lot. Not yeah, and God knows if I get to the point that I'm smiling and the tear starts trickling, that means everybody move. Everybody just needs to back up and get out of the way because that's a volcano about to erupt. But yeah, my grandmother told my grandfather, Landy, I don't care what you do out there in the streets, but you will no longer continue to do it around the baby. So the Butterfingers and the Baby Ruths stopped there. Yes, you had heard right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I wasn't trying to tell on. I wasn't trying to tell on. My granddaddy had a reputation. He was quite the ladies' man. I look at him and I can say, my granddaddy was a funny looking little booger, and he was to me, but the ladies loved him. The ladies absolutely loved him. He was short, 5'7", for a man that's short. Um, he was he was blind. My granddaddy had glaucoma, so there was a reason. He would kind of pudge you around the middle, but he kept pockets full of money, and he wooed the ladies all in and around Wilson. Yes, and I think he used me for cover until you're right, but I think he used me for cover until I inadvertently told on him. Yeah, but I'm glad the relationship between he and I never changed because that was my buddy. When you saw me, you saw him. When you saw him, you saw me. So I spent more time at the funeral home. He was a mortician, but I spent more time at the funeral home than I did the babysitters. I did. I can tell y'all a horror story that is so true. When I hear people say, or when I see, I'm very much into the paranormal because of childhood experiences and, things that I've grown up seeing and hearing and experiencing. So when I was 4, I still had a little bit of fear of the bodies that would come into the funeral home. And my grandfather felt like it was time that I get over that fear, because I was spending a lot of time at the funeral home and I was there sometimes when they would transport the bodies. And every time I saw them coming in, I would run from the bay back inside the building. And it started bothering my grandfather. He was like, these are not the people you need to worry about, baby. These people can no longer hurt you. So we go out to the cold room was separate from the funeral home. It was like a garage on the other side of the carport. So we go in the cold room, and this was the 4th of July weekend. They had 11 bodies in the cold room, 2 of which were very small babies. My granddaddy locked me in the cold room. He turned off the light and locked me in the cold room. And I beat and I kicked on the door until everything in me was gone. And I remember sliding down the wall. And I know a lot of people at this point would say, oh my God, you were traumatized. Back then, they had a different way of teaching us. And this was my grandfather's way. And I thank him for it. So I don't see, compared to other things that have happened in my life, that's the least trauma I went through. Um, I saw 4 bodies get their last breath, one of which was a baby. And at that point, I knew they were right where they were. Nobody got up and came over to me. No random touches. No, other than the exhales. One did raise a leg a little, a gentleman. Another gentleman sat straight up, and that was it. And the baby cooed a little, but it was more like an expulsion of air, you know. Um, but when he opened that door to let me out, he had to look for me because I had made my way all the way around to the other side of the room trying to find a door to get out. And when I realized that I couldn't, like I said, I just slid down the wall and sat on the floor. So when he opened the door, I guess a normal person would have gotten up at that point and run out the door. And I was sitting there on the floor, Indian style, and just waiting for him to find me. And when he came over to me, he reached out his hand, and I grabbed his hand and I stood up. I knew better than to snatch my hand away. I wanted to, but it didn't. But I looked at him, and I think the look in my eyes said everything my grandmother probably said to him later on. I did not hear my grandmother use a 4 letter, not even as a teenager. I was literally, when I had my first child, I was 18. And that was when I first heard my grandmother use a 4 letter word. And she was at church. But you'd have to understand the circumstances. I've not been to a church yet where there wasn't some mess. And that's what I tell my kids. Same BS, different surroundings. And it's the same thing that I've seen with churches, where I would expect people to behave and act like they got sense. It just doesn't. So I depend on my knowledge, my faith, and my belief in God. Not saying that I don't go to church, I just don't have the expectations of churches and typical church folks. And when I say that, I mean the holier than thou people. The snub their nose at you people, the ones that, the high steppers, the holy rollers. I just, how you doing? Find my seat. And probably as soon as he say, I'm going to bring this to an end, he says the word end, I'm gone. I got what I came to get. My edification is here. So, yeah. But my grandfather and we did not have a discussion about that until I was in the 3rd grade. And he asked me if I was upset with him. I said, oh, yeah, old man, I still am. But I love you. Yep, but I love you. I love the time in which I grew up. I I have stories. I love the range of my family. My grandmother, like I said, got her master's in culinary arts. She minored in nutrition. My grandfather was a mortician and an insurance collector. He also ran numbers and did other illegal things that put money in his pocket so he could take care of his family. The beauty in them is that my grandmother dropped out of school in the 9th grade. She got her GED and she furthered her education. My grandfather dropped out of school in the 4th grade. And he was, my mom Maddie had 10 kids. And I think my granddaddy he was either number 6 or number 7. But he was of the younger bunch. And those Hodges boys ran hard. And most of them ended up being deacons, trustees, preachers. I think that's another reason I have such a realistic look on life. I don't put the preacher above the new member. I don't, because like I tell anybody in any situation, anything between humans, they put their drawers on one leg at a time just like anybody else, unless they don't have legs. That's just how it is. We breathe the same air. We go through the same mechanics as far as using the bathroom. Even if we have colostomy bags or, whatever, we it's the same process. You're human just like I am. That's all that I'm saying. We had another son going up in years. So uh, I came back to Virginia in 1984, and we were in the process of switching pastors at the church I attended. So by the time 86 got here, we were firm with our pastor of the John E. Bryant from Belhaven, North Carolina. We used to fish down there a lot. But he came to the house one day. He was more like Uncle John than Elder Bryant. And he came to the house one day and he saw my mama's workspace where she had all of her Bibles and analytical books and dictionaries and reference books, everything all laid out because she taught Sunday school. And she wanted to make sure that, being a teacher anyway, it was like making her lesson plan. She was studying so she could teach. Well, Uncle John walked in that house and looked at her son. He said, well, uh, Sister Turner, uh, God didn't call women to preach. See, nope, 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 nope. But even though I was grown, these were older people. I, I respected that, which is something you don't see a lot of these days. I respected that, and I kept it to myself. I did. I kept it to myself. But I stopped going to church because those words affected my mother to the point that she stopped studying. And I could tell that he hurt her feelings. So after me not going to church for about 2 months, he came to the house, see how down to earth he was. He said, so in 2 spades or we playing gin rummy. Doesn't matter, whichever one. Or do you want to play Scrabble? I don't care. I don't care. Okay, let's play gin rummy. Cool. In the middle of the car. Why don't I see you at church anymore? I said because, quote, I put my mama through enough hell. And he sat back and looked at me and I said, when you walked in this house that day, you damaged something in her. And like I said, I put me help putting my mama through what, she had been going through. I needed the outside help. And, for him to say the women went to the tomb to dress up Jesus' body and he wasn't there. Who did he tell to go tell the people? Was it not women? And when you're preaching or you're, I mean, if I'm wrong, please show it to me and let me do some more research because everything that I research tells me that I have not seen anywhere. I've heard many men say that women don't belong in the pulpit. I've not seen it written anywhere. I've not seen it written anywhere. And I know times have changed, but my mother, what she instilled in me is to be the best that you can be. You don't have to shoot for somebody else's position, but where you are, be the best where you are. And a lot of people mistake that as you gunning for their job or trying to take their position. No, I learned from people and pebbles, 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 my love. Um, yeah, yours got underway last night. Like, oh, that is beautiful. So, as long as I get the okay from them, I know I'm headed in the right direction. So, I know you're gonna like it. Yay! I'm gonna go back to this because we're so close to that hour being up. I don't know what I have to do to prove to StreamYard that I'm gonna keep poking at these lives and maybe eventually I'll come up here one day and they won't kick me out. And I miss a great deal of time trying to play with StreamYard. But I can say that I want to thank all who are here today. I do. It makes me feel good. It does make me feel thirsty. If I'm not here, just be a little patient with me. I'm still trying to. StreamYard wants to make it as hard as YouTube was making it for me, but I'm still going to keep poking at it, and I'm still going to keep trying. Thursdays from 12 to 1. Our Saturday. Between Thursday and Friday, I will be posting the pictures of those pieces on under my posts, so you'll be able to see them. I'm not really. I am on Facebook and Instagram, but not really that much. I might post them on those two. Well, to tell you that they are going to be under the post on YouTube, definitely. and that way you can get a general idea if you're interested in anything. And I'm going to have the auction, I think I said 4 on Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you. Thank you, Pebbles, and I love who you are as well. But I am going to have the auction from 3 to 4. It's only going to be an hour. The way it's going to be set up is I'm going to present the opening bid. I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 5 minutes. At the end of 5 minutes, I will close the auction, and after it shows up, then you will have the means to get everything to me, and I will get that out to you ASAP. The only thing that can keep me, and that's because my school, I will be able to get across the street to the post office and get those sent out to you. After you secure your bid and your payment on one of those, I'll let you know that I have your information and I'll get it out to you. Okay? In the meantime, in between time, I do love you guys, each and every one of you. And as I always beg of you, the one thing I will always beg of you, please love yourself and know that you are enough. You are enough. Know this, live it, breathe it, put it on like you do lotion, wear it like some people wear makeup. You are enough. And in all of the of love and be. You go about and have an awesome day. I'm going to get myself ready to go get my grandbabies, and I will see you all in these streets soon.